The first time Sergeant Elias Ward saw the Queen of Zithera, she wasn't draped in jewels or guarded by warriors. She was unconscious, half buried in the wreckage of her downed bioship, and glowing faintly in the violet light of the storm. It had been 20 days since the Battle of Orion's Belt, where the Earth Defense Coalition clashed with the Zitheran Dominion. Elias's entire platoon had been obliterated when their ship broke apart in the upper atmosphere of the alien moon core, 17. He survived by sheer luck and the failing grace of his crash pod, which deposited him in the middle of a bioluminescent jungle that seemed to breathe. He should have died of infection or dehydration within a week. Instead he found her. The beginning, the Queen in the wreckage. Her body was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Humanoid in shape, but her skin shimmered like liquid crystal, refracting faint hues of blue and gold. Her long silver-white hair was tangled with vines. A faint rhythmic pulse emanated from her chest. When Elias approached, his combat visor identified her as Zitheran Royal Class, priority target. He should have reported it. He should have finished what the war had started. Instead, he holstered his plasma pistol. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the raw terror of being utterly alone. Or maybe when he looked at her face, calm even in unconsciousness, he saw something too human to kill. He built a makeshift shelter beside her ruined bioship, scavenged what little food his ration kit could spare, and waited for her to wake. On the fourth day she stirred. The first sound she made was not a word but a low, resonant hum, like a chord that reverberated in the bones. Elias froze. The air around her shimmered, and for a moment, he thought she was going to disintegrate. Instead, her eyes opened. They were amethyst, swirling and alive. "Human," she said in perfect English, her voice soft but edged with disbelief. "You did not kill me." "You're welcome," Elias muttered, lowering his weapon. "Didn't think I'd get much conversation out of a corpse." Her head tilted slightly. "You are injured." He looked down, the gash on his arm had reopened. Before he could respond, she reached out. Her fingers, cool and smooth, brushed his skin. Bioluminescent tendrils spread from her palm, sealing the wound almost instantly. What was that?" he stammered. "My gift," she said. "Healing. You saved me." "I returned the act." Elias sat back stunned. That was the first moment he realized she wasn't just another alien soldier. She was something more. The middle, two enemies in the wild. Days turned into weeks. The jungle outside their encampment grew darker and more restless, filled with creatures that glowed and whispered in the night. The Queen, who introduced herself as Serenai, revealed that her bioship had been sabotaged by her own kind. The war between her species and humanity, she said, was not as simple as soldiers versus soldiers. "There are factions within the Dominion," she told him one night, her voice carrying through the violet dusk. "Not all Zitherans desire conquest. Many wish for coexistence. But my council fears the dilution of our bloodline. So they sent assassins." Elias listened in silence, sharpening his knife. "And they failed." She gave a faint smile. "They will not fail forever." The more time they spent together, the more the line between enemy and ally blurred. Elias taught her how to use his rifle, though she claimed she didn't need one. She showed him how to draw energy from the planet's bioluminescent flora. They learned to survive side by side, their language barriers and cultural instincts giving way to an odd, quiet understanding. At night, they shared warmth beneath the remnants of his crashed tarp as freezing winds howled through the alien jungle. Her body emitted a faint, radiant heat, and when she slept, soft pulses of light rippled across her skin like breathing starlight. Elias tried not to think about how beautiful it was, or how human it felt to want her near. The confession. One night, a storm tore through the jungle. Not rain, but plasma lightning that scorched the sky in sheets of green. Their shelter collapsed, forcing them to take refuge inside the hollowed carcass of her bioship. Serenai sat against the curved wall, her hair illuminated by the pulsing glow of the alien tech still half alive around them. Elias sat beside her, watching the storm rage through the transparent hull. "Tell me, human," she said softly. "Why did you not kill me when you found me?" He hesitated. "Because I was tired of killing. And because when I looked at you, you didn't look like an enemy." Her eyes flickered with emotion. "You speak as though I am one of your kind. Maybe you're closer than you think." She studied him for a long moment, then leaned closer. "On my world, when one saves the life of another, when they share food, warmth, and spirit, it is called bonding." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Bonding? It is sacred among my people. Means two souls have intertwined. To refuse it afterward would dishonor both." Her gaze locked onto his. "Do you refuse it, Elias Ward?" He swallowed hard. "No," he said quietly. "I don't." The air seemed to hum. She touched his chest over his heart. Her hand glowed, and for a moment he saw the world around him dissolve into color and sound. A swirl of emotion, memory, connection. When it faded, he could feel her heartbeat inside his mind. Not metaphorically, literally. From that moment, they could sense each other's thoughts and emotions. It was overwhelming, intimate, and terrifying. "You are bound to me now," Sarah whispered. "And I to you." He nodded slowly. "Guess that makes us, what? Friends." Her lips curved. "On Zithera, it makes us mates." The war comes for them. They didn't have long to enjoy that fragile peace. A month later, orbiting ships descended into Core 17's skies. Not human vessels, but Zitheran warcruisers. Sarah felt them before the scanners did. She clutched her head, grimacing. "They have come for me. They will burn this moon to ash to ensure I am dead." "Then we run," Elias said, already packing his rifle. "You would stand against my people for me?" she asked, eyes wide. He looked at her. "You're not their people anymore." They fled into the jungle, chased by hunter drones and energy storms. For days they survived on instinct and each other, dodging plasma strikes, fighting off synthetic beasts unleashed to flush them out. Elias was wounded twice. Sarah healed him both times, growing weaker with each act. Finally, they reached the canyon cliffs, the only place high enough to send a distress signal to the human fleet patrolling nearby. As they ascended, the sky erupted with fire. Zitheran soldiers descended in living armor, wings of energy fanning out like angels of death. Elias took cover behind a rock, firing shot after shot, but the enemy's armor deflected his plasma rounds. He turned to shout a warning, only to see Sarah rise to her full height, eyes burning violet. She extended her arms, and the jungle itself responded. Tendrils of living light shot up from the ground, wrapping around the invaders, tearing weapons from their hands. The air crackled with power as she unleashed a wave of energy that shattered the cliffside. When it ended, the soldiers were gone, disintegrated into motes of light. But Sarah collapsed. Elias ran to her side, cradling her in his arms. "Stay with me," he pleaded. "Come on, don't you dare." Her eyes fluttered open. "The bond. It weakens me when I use too much power. I gave too much." "Then take mine," he said. He didn't know what he meant, only that he couldn't lose her. "You cannot," she whispered. "But you already have. Our bond is complete." And then her hand glowed again, but this time the light flowed into him. He felt her consciousness merge with his, a flood of warmth and sorrow. "Live," she said in his mind. "For both of us." Her body dissolved into radiant particles, leaving only her pendant, a crystalline shard that pulsed faintly in his palm. The ending, the Queen's return. 2 years later the war ended. Humanity and the Zitharan Dominion signed a fragile peace treaty after the exposure of Serenai's betrayal by her own council. Elias Ward was officially listed as missing in action, presumed dead. But he wasn't. He lived in the far reaches of the frontier colonies, haunted by memories that weren't entirely his. Sometimes he'd see flashes of alien cities in his dreams, towers made of light, oceans of crystal. He could still hear her heartbeat when he closed his eyes. One night, as he sat beside the silent dunes of a desolate world, the pendant began to glow again. The air shimmered, just as it had the day he met her. From the light, a figure emerged. Tall, radiant, familiar. Her form reconstituted molecule by molecule. Her eyes burning with life. "Elias," she said softly. "You called me." He rose to his feet, breathless. "Sarah, how?" "Our bond was never broken," she said, stepping closer. "Your life sustained what remained of me. Now I am whole again." He reached out, hesitant, but she caught his hand. The same warmth, the same pulse, as if no time had passed. "I thought you were gone forever," he whispered. "I was never gone," she replied. "I was within you, waiting." They stood beneath a violet sky, two survivors of a war that had outlived them both. She leaned close, resting her forehead against his. "In every world, in every life," she said, "you are my mate." He smiled faintly. "Then I guess I'm not sleeping alone tonight." And as the stars burned above them, human and alien, soldier and queen, the universe itself seemed to breathe again.